It's estimated that 6.5 million Jewish people perished during the Holocaust. But thousands of Jews were also saved throughout Europe by courageous individuals who risked their own lives for the sake of total strangers. The Jews who perished and also those who worked to rescue them were commemorated at a special event co-sponsored by the Diocese of Springfield and held at Pittsfield's Berkshire Museum. Steve Kiltonick tells us now of the story of My Italian Secret.
It was a heroic story that was almost lost to history. During the darkest days of World War II, ordinary and prominent Italians, including cycling champion Gino Batali and high-ranking officials of the Catholic Church, risked their lives to save thousands of Italy's Jews from the death camps. Their story was documented in the 2015 film My Italian Secret: The Forgotten Heroes. On April 8th at the Berkshire Museum, a free screening of the movie was shown before nearly 250 in honor of the annual Yom HaShoah, or Holocaust Remembrance Day. Some of those portrayed in the movie, including Bartali and the Archbishop of Florence, Cardinal Ilya Angelo della Costa, were also recognized as being Italian righteous gentiles, or righteous among nations. This designation is given to non-Jewish individuals who showed moral courage to save Jews during the Holocaust. Directed by Oscar nominee Orrin Jacobi, the film is narrated by actress Isabella Rossellini with Robert Loggia as the voice of Bartali. It is the latest in a series of movies that have previously been shown at Yom HaShoah events by the Jewish Federation of the Berkshires. Each recounts the stories of individuals who rescued Jews during the war in ingenious ways, risking their own lives to protect the lives of complete strangers. The goal of the remembrance, said Derek Kaufman, is to offer the community something educational and at the same time help to bring people of different faiths together.
We started this kind of a format because at this time in our world, we need to demonstrate, I think, that our obligations to stand up for one another and to show moral courage in the face of sometimes very scary things. And that's really what happened in Italy.
One of the main characters in My Italian Secret is Gino Batali, a Tour de France cycling champion and a favorite son of fascist dictator Benito Mussolini.
He very much liked Gino Batali. This was a great athlete, a champion that represented the best of Italy. And so, that was very important in fascism and to Mussolini.
Bartali, a Catholic, would often train by going out on long bike rides across the Italian countryside, something that not even Mussolini would question.
At the request of the Archbishop of Florence, he would hide documents in the rails of his bicycle. And he would deliver these documents, which were meant to help hide Jews and provide documentation and forgeries and things like that to various places throughout the country.
Another story featured is that of a prominent Italian physician, Giovanni Borromeo, who worked at a Catholic hospital in Rome on Tiberina Island. Here he created an entire ward around a fictitious contagious disease which he named Syndrome K to keep the Nazis from entering. Jews would be brought in as patients.
During their stay there, they would arrange for documentation and forgeries of papers that they could give them new identities as Catholic citizens. They would then transfer them to convents.
In September 1943, the Nazis invaded northern Italy and started to deport thousands of Jews and others to Auschwitz. But because of the courageous Italians and Catholics, 80% of Italy's Jewish population survived the war. Director Jacobi also resurrects the story of the clandestine Italian resistance movement that also worked to save partisans and refugees. Bartali never spoke publicly of his wartime activities. It wasn't until decades later that he gradually mentioned the role he played in saving Jews to his son Andrea. Kaufman finds the film's message uplifting.
I find it hopeful that even under the most horrific and discouraging circumstances of humanity that we've seen in our lifetime, that there are people who are still guided by that moral compass.
In addition to the movie My Italian Secret, a personal testimony was heard from a woman whose family, the Serranos of Milan, was saved from the Holocaust. The featured speaker was La Rabbinessa Leora Kelman of Congregation Beth Israel in Schenectady, New York. During the war, her grandfather, Alfredo Serrano, was the treasurer of the Jewish community in Milan. Part of his job was to conduct a census, which included compiling the lists of Jews in the community.
At the time, the Jewish community had 13,000 Jewish people in Milan, and he knew that if those lists fall in the wrong hands, it's going to be a catastrophe.
Fearing for his own family and all the other Jews on the census, Alfredo contacted a priest, Father Sante Raffaele, in the village of Monbaroccio.
He arranged for the family to take refuge in a barn of this Italian family in that village, the Ciaffoni family. They did not tell anybody that the people they have in the barn are Jewish. They just referred to them as war refugees.
One of the first things Serrano did when he arrived at Monbaroccio was to hide the lists.
My mother, who was 40 years old at the time, remembers him breaking the wall in the barn. They stayed in the barn. And he put the list, he cemented the wall, and that's how he saved those lists from getting into the wrong hands.
Alfredo taught science at a local school, and his wife Diana cooked for the German soldiers. Kelman's mother Mathilde and younger sister Vittoria always lived in fear that the Germans would discover their true identity. The family would often hide in the caves under the monastery, and here they kept their faith, prayed, and celebrated Jewish holidays. They remained undiscovered during the war in part because of a sympathetic German officer, Captain Eder.
And he did not tell that they were Jewish. He told the priest that he believes in God. He believes it's not his place to deport these people. We all are believing in God. We should be good to each other.
The story of the Serrano's survival was documented in a diary Alfredo kept during the war. It was hidden in a drawer by his daughters for 70 years until an Italian journalist befriended the family and brought the story to light. The book he published from the diary was recently presented to the Italian Parliament as an important historical document. Of the 13,000 Jews of Milan, 12,200 survived because of Alfredo and others. At the museum, Father Chris Malatesta of St. Agnes Parish represented Bishop Rozansky and the Springfield Diocese, which co-sponsored the event with the Jewish Federation of the Berkshires and the Italian-American Club of Pittsfield. Rabbi Neil Hirsch led the group in a moment of silence and a candlelight ceremony in remembrance of the millions of Jews, Poles, Gypsies, and others who were murdered by the Nazis.
We hold on to their memories dearly and know that in dark times there is also light.
A final prayer was given in Hebrew and English.
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to those among us, among our people Israel, among all of humanity who find themselves now in a time of remembrance. As together we say, Amen.
The ceremony concluded when attendees wrote down the names of the loved ones they remembered on the memorial tables. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonick.